Have you ever watched somebody, let's say, threaten Mike Tyson, or somebody take on a professional team, or somebody who really has no business engaging in a particular line of action as to a, let's say, professional team or a competitor, where you think to yourself, this guy's gonna kill himself. He's gonna destroy this team. This person has no idea what they're doing. That's Erika Kirk. They don't get it. They don't see it, and in a very, very weird, kind of a cruel way, and I think you'll know what I mean. There's a part of us that says, I want to see this. I want to see this. She just has no idea. When there's that match, because we never really found out what happened when they met. When Erika and Candace sat down, we never really, what was that? It was eerily silent as to the specifics. It was a big deal. It was a meeting of the minds, kind of like an appomattox, so to speak. But I don't know. We never found out. Nothing has changed. I don't think it had any effect whatsoever, because I think part of it has to do with the fact that Erika Kirk is delusional. She's delusional. She believes her own story. She believes her own line. She believes her own narrative. She believes the myth that she has created. I can't say that enough. This is mythical. I got to tell you this story before I forget. It's not really a story, it's an observation. I love to read the comments. I must admit, for the longest time, I never read any comments because they were terrible. They were horrible. They were just like, my God. I just said, I'll just let this go. It's not doing me any good in doing that. In any event, so what I did was I started to read them, and they were phenomenal. They're still great, and I advise and request that you continue to do so. In any event, as I was looking through this, and I was reading the comments, somebody said, and every time now and then I'll get one of these that says, "Why are you talking about this?" With all that's going on in the world, why are you wasting your time with this? Let me ask you, do you think I'm wasting my time? Do you find this interesting? Apparently you do. Why is this story so interesting? And it's a good question, because it kind of gives us an idea of where we're going. And it kind of gives you an idea, too, of how Candace Owens is going to literally destroy, well, not literally, but in terms of her stature, Erika Kirk. Absolutely, positively, 100%, without a doubt, how it's going to happen. Now, let's think about this. First and foremost, and this is important, this is critical. When I was talking to somebody the other day about Epstein's files, somebody said to me one time, he said, what difference does it make? It doesn't really affect me. What is it? Why is there this interest? I said, well, don't you understand what the Epstein files mean? And the people, the evil that is undoing, being unraveled. He goes, yeah, but why is it important to me? Okay. Then there was the Prince Andrew case, which is just, I was talking to my friend on Sean Atwood in the UK, and they're going crazy. Same person asked me, what do I care about Prince Andrew? So what? Or Andrew. Hitherington, Mountbatten, Paparazzo, whatever his new name is. I said, that's a good point. How about the abduction, perhaps the abduction, the kidnapping, and maybe the murder, I had to say, of Nancy Guthrie? Again, what does this do for me? What do I care? So, why is this important? First, if it interests you, it's important. Why does somebody spend their entire life going to college to study Hamlet? Hamlet never even occurred. It was just literature. This is current literature. This is real literature, actual literature. This is real, honest to God, open source, real literature. Literature, drama that's happening before our very eyes. Call it what you want. It's fascinating because of the people involved, because of the subject matter, the parties, the strategy, and the fact that it's being unveiled before us, and the subject of the, how do I say this? The subject of the the subject of the, I don't know what the word is, the subject of the bring down, so to speak, or the collapse, is being done by evidence provided by Erika Kirk. It's not that people have to unravel things. It's being presented by Erika Kirk. CANDACE Owens got herself into this. In fact, the Macrons should be happy that they're not talking about that, which, by the way, I concur. Instead, we have this. And every time CANDACE stops, there's a new information, a new bit, a new reference point that makes you wonder, wait a minute, why is this even happening? Why are you allowing this to happen? Friends will come forward. Then the friends become the subject of interrogation and dissection and dispute. And then claims about Fort Huachuca, or claims about the past, or claims about prior relationships, or claims about drinking, or claims about Vestal virgin status before this, and claims about whether or not she might have been involved in some form of behavior, perhaps inappropriate behavior, with somebody 15 years old when she was 25. Again, this is given to Candace. She is handed this. She's not doing anything. It's like I'm standing in a ring and this guy keeps falling down. And I'm standing over him and I'm taking advantage of the fact that it's self-inflicted. From just a purely human gawking point of view, it's incredible. I love human drama. I'm a trial lawyer by profession. Trials are trying to convey to people the idea of who these people are. Trials are the dissection of relationships and the psychology and the inequality of position and power and victimization and being able to prove it. Can you prove it? Can you prove it? That's what's fascinating. And every time I turn around, we see something which is so interesting that I don't think we ever saw or had in any other generation. And that is a number of people, maybe yourself, who provide these wonderful pieces of information. These, I don't want to go down the list, but you know their names. They're contributors and investigators who will apply the most painstaking of details regarding flight plans, flight patterns, flight schedules, tail numbers, positions in let's say forts, and involvement in prior CIA industrials involving EMPs and prior names and prior lives. They do this. The information is there. And you've got this Erika Kirk who never understood that in her dream of being out there and being documented and loved and providing you with all of the fodder that you need to extol praise and love and adoration upon her, she actually provided inadvertently, maybe, information, data, stories, anecdotes that ultimately would be used against her. She is, to use that rather ancient term that is oftentimes used incorrectly, she is hoist by her own petard. She is actually found guilty by her own words. It's like what brought John Gotti down when you had bugs that were planted in the Ravenite. It was his own words. They did this, his own words. Everything that you see is done by virtue of Erika Kirk's own words, her own behaviors. And if there was nothing to it, there would be nothing to say. But there is something to it. There is something to it. And there's something which is the most important. People hate the notion of somebody who frankly is a bullshitter. Somebody who portrays something they are not. And that this inauthentic self is what motivates people, And Candace Owens has been able to focus in on this like laser like with the thorough dissection and presentation of the most experienced prosecutor around. The recitation of facts to build your case, to say, here's what it is. This is what I'm going to tell you. This is what I am telling you. And this is what I just told you. It's this sequencing. This is why this is important. This is why it's critical. This. And people are how do I say this? People are amazed by it. Now, there are other areas and other provisions, other stories, other sources that I don't necessarily believe in providing in terms of my, I don't want to use them as evidence. There's a lot of, I am privy to, for lack of a better word, I guess gossip, blind gossip, industry gossip, that kind of stuff. And I appreciate that. And that's wonderful. But I don't think that's the sort of stuff that I think we're talking about. I'm very careful. But let me tell you what I would not be surprised if we heard. I'll leave it at that. I wouldn't be surprised. And you shouldn't be surprised if you heard that there were other instances, other realms, other things that she might have been in. Perhaps, people who were involved in this pageant world. Women telling you they're beautiful, living in a world where being beautiful matters, walking around, traipsing about, gallivanting about, perambulating, peregrinating, locomoting, moving to and fro, backstage, sometimes scantily clad, sometimes in bikinis, sometimes in bathing suits, sometimes this. Women being pushed together, pressed together in this world, in this one kind of a centralized epicenter, critical mass of beauty and pulchritude and pageant-worthy, a la Erika. She is absolutely committed and focused on female pulchritude, female sexiness is what she does. This is what she did. She developed so much of her, or spent time developing this particular focus, her sizzle reels, her pageant work. So when you're walking around and you're involved in this, and you meet Miss this and Miss Alabama, Miss Georgia, Miss blah, 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 and each of you are so beautiful, so beautiful, so beautiful. If there is any type of penchant or penchant to experiment, appreciate, highlight, focus on, or dare I say, involve oneself in that, this would be the time that you would see it. Don't be surprised if there are other people who come forward. If it happens now. And let me also say something. I almost forgot to mention this, and this is critical. When I say don't be surprised if you might find, I didn't say there necessarily be true. I didn't say that. Did you hear me say that? Truth has nothing to do with this. You can say anything you want. If somebody smells money right now, and Candace will be there ready to go. If tomorrow Miss Virginia, Miss whatever it was, Miss Wyoming from 2012 or wherever the hell it is, I don't know, says, she was rather friendly with me and came on to me, and maybe, who knows, I don't know if people save text messages. I'm not even saying they're true. I'm not saying any of this is true. Do you know what that would do? people will figure, you know what, now would be a good time for a settlement. Now would be a greater time, a greater tendency, a greater potential, a greater probability of somebody settling now rather than risk any kind of, embarrassing. You think I'm kidding? Remember, let me say this again. Listen very carefully. I'm not saying any of this is true. This is the world we live in today. As soon as somebody says, ooh, you can make money, I'm not telling you that every one of the Epstein cases, any of this, all of the civil claims were necessarily true or necessarily as provided. That goes for anything. I can tell you that not everybody who has collected monies and personal injury accidents actually suffered as much as they might have portrayed. Life's like that. And this is the reality of, this is the realpolitik. This is the reality of where we live now. And Candace Owens is going to come by and going to pick this up and is going to present them in such a way that you're going to think, dear God. And Erika is going to say to herself, why did I ever involve myself in the first place? Why did I find myself in the position of this in the first place? Why didn't I see this? And friends of hers, people in TPUSA, are going to say, why are you still here? What is it that you want exactly? What tell me again, what is it that what are you trying to accomplish here? What is your goal? Please tell us, Erika. Tell us, what were you trying to do? What do you want to be? Do you want to be the leader of this? Do you want to be a star? What is it? And because she is unable to answer that question, that leaves her very open and very vulnerable to people like Candace, who will, again, not create anything, but merely use the evidence that is presented in a way that's very skillfully crafted and applied to perhaps focus on her. Now, I also want to tell you something, and I will be the first to tell you. This is, I guess for lack of a better word, this is what would you call it? A soap opera. A soap opera that is so incredibly fascinating, that has so many twists and turns and characters that you can't believe what you're seeing. You can't believe what you're seeing and how it's working. You can't believe any of this. I can't believe the character. I can't believe what's being said. None of this. I can't believe it. When this happened, when she was first involved in this, very sad to say, when Erika was, and I saw her first, what got my attention, I didn't know her from Adam. I didn't think anything of it. I thought, oh, I swear to you, I was busy with other things. What got my attention, and I've told you this before, what got my attention was the scene where she was leaning over in the casket, or she was stroking Charlie's hand, and it was his dead hand. I mean, it was to take that moment that I can't even conceive of. If this had been my wife, or I would have said, get that camera out of here. I would have never thought, you're not going to see this. First of all, it's none of your business. Second of all, it's private. And third, it looks like I'm pursuing this, and I don't want people to think that I'm actively exploiting something which is inexplicable to even comprehend, much less explain. But that was her first move. And the professional widow moved in, and I realized, I can't believe what I'm seeing. And then came that one day on every cable show, and I realized, this woman I can't believe what I'm seeing. What about her kids? Who? What about Charlie's funeral? Who? What about his parents? Who? What are you talking about? I thought, can this be happening? And then I met the TPUSA group. And again, I never thought of TPUSA. They were okay. I thought they were nice. It was almost this weird kind of a weird form of like Stepfordy. I can't think of a better word. These weird kind of, and a lot of people said it's a bunch of very kind of country club white. I don't know what I'm not even sure what the word is. Not phony per se, but standard issue, central casting. They didn't in any way impart in my mind. They didn't make me feel any or feel some kind of a connection to them. Like wow, they're no, it's weird. It's almost again Stepfordy. It's robotic. It's this central casting. Remember that weird kid? I'm sorry, I don't remember his name. It was a strange name. Kind of blonde. He had a Rolex. He was sitting in a private jet seat, and he was going to be the next. Remember, he was going to be the face of TPUSA. And then Ben Shapiro moved in. He goes, I'm going to take a. It was weird. But what did it for me was that funeral scene or that casket. That was it. I thought, my God. My friends, we have an 18-karat phony here. We have somebody who's exploiting this, who is just, and we were off to the races. And then they turned on Candace. That was it. Of all the people, you could have ignored her. You could have just kept her out of the fray. And by virtue of the fact that Candace would not have been directly identified or targeted as somebody who is, the subject of her wrath, Candace would have had nothing to say with this. Nothing, it wouldn't have been a part of this. Candace would have said, I don't have a beef with Erika. I don't have one. Until Erika turned on her. Until TPUSA did it. Until Ben Shapiro did it. Until everybody from Nick Fuentes to Alex Jones to everybody and their mother turned on Candace. And then it became even better. People thought, this is terrific. Candace loves this. Thank you. She's like, thank you. Now I'm in the fight. It's like Winston Churchill when, after Pearl Harbor, when we declared war on Japan, and there was that tripartite group, and then therefore Hitler declared war on us because we declared war on his ally in the Axis, and Churchill said, thank God, we're all in this together, brother. That's a great Cam Fong, as Chin Ho said. So, there we go. So, once all this happened, Candace says, okay, I'm taking you all on. Just stand in line. I'll get to each of you. And it has been a storyline that's real and that you're almost asking, why are these people getting up? Why don't they just throw in the towel and just leave? I think Shapiro did. I think that other creepy kid did. Who are these other people? But Erika will not. And her lieutenants and her adjutants and her minions will not. They won't do this. So that's where we are right now. So to answer your question, why is this so interesting? Because it is. Are there other stories in the world that are more important? Yes, if you think they're more important. I'm going to break this to some of my friends in the business. Some people don't care about Epstein. They don't care. They've heard it. So what do I care about that? Some people don't care about Prince Andrew. Some people don't care about Nancy Guthrie and her kidnapping or disappearance. They don't. So it's not a one-size-fits-all. There are some stories that people just do not find interesting. I am telling you, from a humanistic point of view, from an almost a soap opera point of view, twists and turns and lies and characters and personalities. And let me tell you something. I'm recording this on a Saturday night on the 21st. People are waiting. I believe, if I recall correctly, I believe it is Monday when Candace is coming back. And I'm telling you, people are waiting to see what she does and her reaction, because it is going to be a barn burner. And if there is a God, I would like to say thank you very much for making her enemies, if you will, her combatants, like Erika Kirk, be as stupid as they are. Because why these dimwits are taking on Candace, I have no idea. My friend, you, I want to talk about you for a moment. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for taking on my cause. Thank you for just enjoying it. Thank you for your comments. I think this is fantastic. Thank you for how kind you've been to me. Thank you how kind you've been to my wife at Lynn's Warriors. Right now, over the weekend, she's been talking to parents who had to endure this lawsuit, this trial in California regarding a suit against big tech, declaring them responsible for what amounts to an addictive platform. She's been immersed and enmeshed and saturated by the issue of child predation and human trafficking. And she's my hero. She's my love. She's my wife. And I thank you for following her. And I hope you do as well at Lynn's Warriors. It means a lot. It's so terrific to have her work validated by you great people. I've got some questions for you to answer. And I want to hear your take. Sometimes I can't get near your follow-ups, your instincts, and your observations. So thank you. Have a great and a glorious day, my friends. And until we meet again, I say to you, comment as you see fit.